Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, breaker of the seven seals, messenger of the covenant. Let's bring in our audio, brothers and sisters. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Okay, brothers and sisters, as I've been promising you, I'm going to talk about the 9 plagues Armageddon. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. But as I've been saying, and be very careful here, is not to say too much. Anytime you do put two in something, that means it's not good. Like I drink too much coffee, right? Watch too much TV, or I slept too much. See, it means it's bad. And I have to be very careful here, brothers and sisters. This information is very pertinent, it's very relevant, it's very timely. Because these events are on the horizon. They will take place very soon. We're not Farrakhan dummies here who report. We can't tell the difference between reporting and prophesizing. They always have 20/20 hind vision. They call it foresight. They have 20/20 hindsight. They call it foresight. It's not foresight. Grab it, pulling out his behind, because he, just like COVID-19, he didn't see it coming. That was an easy call. He didn't see it coming. But now, 7 months later, he knows all about it. In fact, he even controls it. But he's walking through with a mask on. And no one can, and he has to be supported. Right? He can't walk on his own. But he's going to get us to the promised land. Well, he's not going to the promised land, remember? We're not going anywhere. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I want to get right into this top subject here. I want to say a couple of things first, though. We have a lot of people that are doing everything in their power to either block or distort this information. See? That's okay. Because we know resistance means growth. Resistance means growth. So the more we grow, the more you're going to resist until your power to resist is broken. And then you're crushed to dust. See, our minds, your brain, your thoughts are pressure. Your thoughts are pressure, period. See? You emit your thoughts through words. Words are pressure waves. Sometimes they're called sonic. And when your brain, the pressure that your brain can control, command, when that pressure is less than the pressure you're exposed to, then you're crushed out of existence. That's what brings about death. That's what brings about death. Death is when the pressure, outer pressure is greater than inner pressure, so you're crushed out of existence, right? See? Suicide, you start thinking against yourself because you're imploding. Imploding means, right? Exploding is you're spanning out. Imploding means you're crushing in. See? So you start doing things against yourself because your pressure is greater, so the pressure is actually telling you to destroy yourself. And you can look at it that way, but the pressure is greater outside because both, your thought is pressure. And so your thought's you're not able to sum enough thought pressure to overcome the outer pressure, then you're imploding, you're crushing. And it depends on the degree, the differential, how fast it happens. It can happen suddenly, or it can happen over time, but it's happening. So the thing is, you must, if you want to continue to exist, you must maintain a higher thought pressure than the pressure system that you're a part of, that you're in. Now, when it comes to the devils, they cannot do that. See, the pressure, the pressure they've been exposed to is greater than the pressure that they can sum. See, that they can sum up, that they can command. So they're thinking backwards. See, they're imploding. Everything's backfiring. The things they do, right, is actually working against them because they're thinking negatively. See, they're not expanding. See, the thoughts they have is not causing them to expand. The thoughts they have is causing them to implode. You got to understand that concept, bro. So that's why I say you need to start understanding how pressure works. Because our whole existence is pressure. Our reality is pressure. That's a true reality. That's mathematics. And then you understand things. A person commits suicide because he started thinking against himself. He started imploding. His thoughts, the pressure outside was greater than pressure inside, so his thoughts is pressure, so his pressure started working against him. He started thinking against himself or herself. See? That's one form of it. Taking drugs, another form of it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to not feel the pressure. See, the pressure, you feel the pressure crushing you, and you're trying, it's like, get a operation, they get anesthesia, so you don't feel it, you're still getting cut. Still affecting you, you just don't, in some cases, you just don't remember it. Right? So that's what's happening. So you're taking drugs and try to offset the pressure feeling. All these things are indications, right, of you succumbing to the pressure, being crushed. And that's what you see in the European countries now, especially in America. Drug abuse, suicide, right? Gender dysphoria, right? Confusion. A woman going on the Supreme Court can't say what a woman is. They should ask her, are you a woman? These are signs of this, bro. So you need to understand, I need to do a whole presentation just on that. So I just want to bring that up. Now you got these clowns I talking about, they follow Elijah Muhammad. See? Well, first of all, Elijah Muhammad didn't break the seals. He never said he did. See? And that's what you're supposed to be looking for. See, but see, because they're vipers. They're not trying to find the truth. They're trying to find your pocketbook. That's what they're trying to find. They're trying to find the key to your pocketbook. They're trying to find the key to scriptures. They're trying to find the key to your pocketbook. That's what they're all about. And we're going to deal with them accordingly, effectively. Because if they was about the truth, they would be on board. Because this is the truth and it's clear and they can easily check it out. See? They're about getting your pocketbook. See? In some case, trying to get in your panties. See? That's what they're all about. See? And we're going to deal with them. See? Because they cause a lot of confusion for our people. See? Because at this point in time, like I said, it's like if you want muscle, you got to go to the gym. Right? Or you got to go and, lift weights, you want muscle. See? And so we've been given the mental gym that's necessary to withstand the pressure of this time. It says this pressure would be greater than ever, unprecedented. So you need a very powerful, what do you call it, personal trainer, and a very good gym equipment, mental. And that's what AL-INJIL is, because it's extremely hard to figure it out. See? But when you start figuring out, your mind start getting stronger and stronger and stronger to become stronger than the pressures outside. Because you know that because you can see what's going on. See? Now you can see what's going on. Then you begin to become a prophet. You begin to see what's going on before it happens. That means you have foresight. See? That means you can prevent being overcome by the pressure. But when you have only hindsight, that means you're imploding. The pressure is greater. So you can't see. You're in darkness. The pressure outside is greater than your thoughts. And we're trying to increase your thoughts so it's greater than the pressure outside. So now you have foresight instead of hindsight. See, fire those clowns all have hindsight. See? Because they're in darkness, because the pressure, external pressure is greater than internal pressure. The pressure of this reality, this fake reality, is greater than the pressure of their minds. So they overwhelmed by it. That's another way of talking about the gravitational vortex. They're overcome by it. See? And so the angel is a test. Because if you can't get familiar with the angel, you will not have enough mental power to make it to the hereafter. We don't want dummies in the hereafter. We don't want them. See? Because they can't move forward in time. The only way to move forward in time is you have to have greater pressure than the reality you're in. Otherwise, you're stuck in time. If you don't have greater pressure than the reality that you're in, then you're stuck in time. You need greater pressure, you need foresight to move forward. If you try to move forward in hindsight, you're going to bump into things. You need foresight to move forward. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to give you foresight. I'm trying to get you to start exercising the angel so your mind be strong enough so you would escape all these things. Because it's pressure. That's what it calls down to. And external pressure and internal pressure. And the devils are able to create a certain amount of pressure, right? And if you can overcome, and the pressure they got is weak. Because they can't withstand the pressure that's about to come on them. But if you can't handle their pressure, then you're stuck here. You're gonna go down with them. You're not gonna make it to the promised land. If you can't overcome their pressure, because they destroy because they can't overcome it. They can't overcome the pressure that they're exposed to. The external pressure, the pressures of this is fake reality, this illusion of reality built. See? Because now they're getting the pressure from all the nations and everything. This pressure is causing them to implode. That's why they're making bad decisions. Everything's backfiring on them. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. Your mind has to be greater than theirs. Like I said, if your righteousness has to be greater than their righteousness. If your righteousness is not greater than the righteousness of this world, then you're going to be stuck in this world. That's what they're trying to tell you. Your mind has to be greater than their mind. And your mind is not. Because you're stuck in this Christianity, you're stuck in all this BS they're telling you, capitalism, all this stuff. That's the concepts that this weak pressure mind can come up with. See? Those are weak concepts. Weak. But that's the best their mind can come up with. See? That's what had the angel for 2,000 years and couldn't touch it. Not all. Not at all. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're going to move into this again. Those of you that study angel, you're going to have to fill in the blanks here. I'm being very cautious here. Right? I'm giving enough. I think I'm giving enough here for you to understand, because this is on the doorstep. And the 9 plagues, that's Armageddon. Those are plagues on the European, on Egypt. Those are plagues that, because Armageddon is a plague in and of itself. It is the 9 plagues. So bear with me, brothers and sisters. Right, it's going to take a little bit time, but like I said, you have to fill in some blanks here. I've been talking in a general way, because I have to be very careful, because this is very pertinent information and affects your livelihood. It affects your lives. But it also, we can't be telling the devils what we're going to do before we do it. They'll be waiting for you. You think they ain't listening, they're listening. Okay. So I'll just read a couple of things here. Let's do this here. I can do this. Okay, through this in one day will come the plagues of her. This chapter 18. That means 1 year, right? Death, mourning, and famine and fire should be burned down. America's going to be burned down, but Farrakhan said we're going to stay here. So I guess you better have some asbestos suits. You know, and I guess you can live off of ashes. I mean, it doesn't make any sense what he says. He says America will be he said he's following Elijah Muhammad, which that's a lie, right? See, he says what they call the Fall of America. You know, the whole book. You got American Flames, but he said we ain't going anywhere. And how, anybody still with him is a demon or a total idiot. And fire will burn down, because strong the Lord, the God, having judged her, they weep, and they will strike themselves upon her, kings of earth, and with her having committed fornication, having lived unreigned in luxury, whenever they may look at the smoke and the fire of her. Okay, this is chapter 18. I'm not going, so chapter 18 is, well, let me say this about chapter 18. So I've been saying that chapter 18 is about economic collapse. I said it's going to be behind oil. I've been saying this for years. I'm saying a lot lately. And now they're telling you right now, oil is the king over there. That's what they're worried about. God says, when the war breaks out in the Middle East, the Shia is going to have total control of oil, total. And now Europe is dependent on oil from two different sources, Russia and the Middle East. Russia and the Middle East. See? But America's going to go with Russia after they get kicked out of the Middle East. They're immediately going to get in the war with Russia after they kicked out of the Middle East, which will happen very soon. That's the war in chapter 12. When Michael and his angels go to war with the dragon and his angels. And the dragon and angels kick out. God can make God, America and Britain will be kicked out, leaving false Israel stranded and under siege. We're going to talk about that a little bit here. See? So when that happens, right, America has to explain how they got defeated by the Shia. And remember, because Russia is a quasi-ally of Iran. So Russia's going to get blamed. See? Now, how to the extent Russia's going to take part in that war, I'm not going to get into that. But the point is, Russia's going to get the blame. America go to war immediately with Russia. So you always see it, and the antagonism going on right now. But this ain't it. This war with Ukraine, that ain't it. That ain't the war that's not going to trigger Armageddon. Everybody's all nervous. No, it's the war in the Middle East between false Israel and Iran and America and Britain, and to some extent, European countries. So what happens is that if you read chapter 18, if you understand, I've got presentations about it. What happens is that once the Shia are total control of the Middle East, that source of oil is cut off. And think about it. That source of oil is cut off. The Germans, the French, all those Western European countries, they don't have that much reserves. They don't have any reserves at all. So they depend upon a constant flow of oil. So now it's cut off from there. And the only place source they have is America and Russia. And America's at war now. They're not going to give up anything. Because right now they're already cutting down. You see what they're doing? They're cutting down their reserves. So they won't have no reserves anyway. They're cutting their reserves. See how these things happen? They're working against themselves and don't realize it. Because they're going to need those reserves in a minute. See, they're getting rid of all the reserves. What, a million barrels a day for the next 6 months? So that means they're going to have very low reserves, if any. See? So they're cutting back on, so America's not going to, because anyway, America couldn't supply their needs that quickly anyway, because they would have to ship it by ship, and that takes a while. Ships get there, and they had to do a ton of oil, right, to cover all those nations, France and Germany and so forth. See, the only source they're gonna have is Russia, but they're supposed to be allied with America, and America's at war with Russia. See, so the only way they can survive, because they're gonna have a collapse. The only way they can semi-recover or quasi-recover is they got to get some oil from somewhere. The only place they're going to be able to get is Russia. That means they're going to have to go against America, right? They're going to Russia's side to survive. So I told you about that. Now you see stuff they're telling you right now. This whole thing is about oil. I've been saying it for years. Now I ain't telling you. This whole thing is going to revolve around oil. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that. Let's move on. And I heard this adaptation again. I heard other voice out of heaven saying, come out, right, the people of me, out of her, in order that you will not share together in sins of her, and out of the plagues of her, in order that you should not receive, because we're glued together all of her, the sins, until the heaven calls upon the mind of the God, the unjust acts of her. That means God, remember her unjust acts. Give you back to her as she has back. Give her this is kind of, this is transliteral, so the language is kind of difficult, but it's the correct one to use. Not the King James, all that stuff. Give you back to her as also she have back, and double you the double according to the works of her, and the cup where she had mingle you to her double. And many as she glorifies herself, and they arrange it in luxury, so much give you her torment and more. It means revenge. See, we're going to do them twice as much as they did to us. That's another story. We'll do it another time. Okay. Now, the first plague. That's when the war starts. Remember I said this? Hold on, brothers and sisters. Remember I said the plagues are about war of Armageddon. This is when the war starts. The first plague, called it blood. See? Now, you study AL-INJIL, some of you have to go in and try to relate, try to understand what these tick symbols mean. See, because I've told some of you in the past, well, I've told all of you in the past to some degree, right? See? But that's the stage. See, the JCPOA is ended, right? And so that's the beginning, right, of the war. It's not the war, but it's the beginning. It's set up to it. The JCPOA is a set up to it. So the first plague is blood. See, that's what's happening here. See, so that has something to do with the demons. See, because demons figure very heavily in what's going to happen during this time. So America has been kicked out of the Middle East. Britain's been kicked out of the Middle East. The Shia are reigning now. They're on top. And they have false Israel surrounded, under siege. Okay. So it's going to be very, very bitter for them. That's one thing about this blood. It's very bitter. See, so you can find that reference someplace else. I'm not going to go into it right here. But at this point, they finally come to the conclusion that their time has run out. See? So it's very bitter. That's why drinking blood means very bitter. Very bitter time. And second one's frogs. See? So, and we'll read some of this. See, I will smite my boys with frogs, and Ruth shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, in thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed in the house, thy service upon thy people, and thine ovens. And we're talking about here is demons, black-faced devils, okay? Master's children. They're all over the place. See, now America's at war. See, at this point, America's at war. You can't see him. Well, there you go. See, flash right there. America's at war in Russia, against Russia, and the EU has turned against America. They allowed Russia because they needed oil. So America's surrounded, getting their ass kicked. See, and these frogs are everywhere. See, they're in television, they're in politics, Hollywood, sports. They're all over the place. See, that was it. And Master's house, married Master's children. See, and the thing is that's the problem, because they need to gather all of them. The government needs to gather all of them together to help fight this war, and they're resisting. So they're everywhere. See, that's them. That's them. That's not us. That's them. They're all over the place. See? And they're resisting, and the other thing is, they're in very critical positions some places. See? So that's one of the problems, that's one of the plagues they're having. They need them right now for this war, and they're all over the place. It's hard to get them together, plus they're resisting. See? Part of the reason why they're resisting, because Suleiman is there. He's prophesied about this war, even though they're demons. Nobody said they were stupid. So that's the frogs. See, because these frogs, remember, this just beginning. These frogs, also locusts, right? They're demons. They call different names here, but they're gonna come in. They're gonna have that impact. They're gonna impact in all those names in this particular these plagues. See, that's just beginning of their plagues. That's beginning of the plague. See, they're frogs. See, but we're gonna see as we move on. See, that's not the last you heard of them, because they got the demon plague. See, that's them. Again, brothers and sisters, I hope I'm not being too high level for you. But those you've been studying, hope you can understand. So then here you see, at that point, no, America's fallen. Britain's fallen. Right, been taken out. Babylon's fallen. The Shia's taking control of the Middle East now. They rose back up. So that means Jerusalem is surrounded by armies. What does that mean? See? That's not particularly a plague, but they're surrounded by armies. It says when you see who controls Jerusalem. This is a very simple prophecy verse, and they got that all messed up because they distorting everything. They say, but they're lying. They're trying to make this fit, trying to make scripture fit some false reality that they dreamed up, that they want to make themselves look good. And there's nothing, I mean, you can't make shit look good. Some people try, still shit. But it says, you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, what does it say? It says, okay, they're going to escape. Jesus is going to get them? No. It says, because their destruction is near. Who owns Jerusalem? Who controls it? Jerusalem is the capital of who? Not the Arabs. They don't control it. The Jews do. False Israel does. So it tells you when you see this situation, this is the angel key again. All this is still angel key. We're going through the flow as it relates to the 9 plagues. And it's very simple. It says they're going to be destroyed, and that can't happen. If they're true to Abraham, they cannot happen. So it says when you see this, see, their destruction is near, and that's why it tells you got to get out of town. You got to flee, because that all things that the implication of what that means. That's very simple, brothers and sisters. So when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, its destruction is nigh. And that's not supposed to happen, because they're the abomination of desolation. Okay, the third plague is gnats, lice. Okay, that's the plague, right, where America, so like I said, is in trouble. You turned on them, but now they actually fighting. So that's the lice. The lice is America being torn apart by Russia and its so-called it used to be allies. That's the lice. Or gnats. See? So America's being plagued by the frogs. Black folks resisting because they need their help now. Right, for this war. They're resistant, they're all over the place, hard to get, gather them up. See? And the blood, the bitter time for them, they got themselves into something they can't get out of. Remember, they're working against themselves. It's then how it happened, because you made it happen. Okay. Third plague, lice. Now, that brings about economic collapse. I just mentioned that, right? Because false Israel is under siege, and Shia control all of the oil in the Middle East, and the Europeans helped America when they was attacking Iran, before they got whipped. Then it caused a speaker for all of them. And so that chapter 18, you have a total economic collapse, total. See? Okay, livestock. Now I showed livestock, some of the cattle. Now, we read a little bit of this. The Lord said to Moses, go into the Pharaoh and tell him, thus says the Lord God of Hebrew, let my people go that they may serve me. If thou refuse to let them go and wilt hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle which is in the field, upon thy horses, upon thy asses, upon thy camels, upon the oxen, upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain, and the Lord shall sever between, and the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt. There shall nothing die of all that is of the children of Israel. And the Lord appointed set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. We're talking about, see, the cattle. Remember talking about the demons and locusts? They also the cattle. See, they got taken out. See, they was in the field. Remember, it says if you're in the field, flee. See, some of them didn't flee, but they was taken out. But the cattle, that's what Farad did in the NOI, they weren't touched. They weren't touched. They was out to defend themselves. They weren't touched. See, so a lot of these Christian demon blacks, they're going to be in trouble. That's what I'm telling you. See, a lot of them are going to be killed. That's the plague. That's the plague. Plague of cows. One would be, there'd be a distinction. So God makes, they say, oh, we're all the same. No, God said there's a distinction there. See? What he says. And there should be a grievous more, and Lord shall sever between the cattle, Israel and cattle of Egypt, and there should be nothing all until, and Lord appointed time saying to all this thing, and the Lord did thing on all, but not one, there was not one. No, it says something, go into the people, tell them, thus said the Lord, that people, they may serve me, not fuse, and will hold still, but the land of the Lord is upon the cow which is in the field, upon the horse, upon the ass, upon the cow, and upon the sea. To be a fierce rain, then the Lord shall sever between the cattle, of Israel and the cattle of Egypt. So he makes a distinction. See? When he said, ain't no sick, we're all the same. See? So NOI will be safe in this period. See? It's not time to flee yet. See? But something else is going on. You see? And so demons, they get hurt. See? So a lot of things I would like to tell you, brother, but I got, be careful here. What's going on? Okay, up to the fifth. I messed that up. What was the fifth? Okay, fifth. Now, if you notice, bro, I never said anything about the fourth. Never said anything about the fourth. We'll see why in a minute. There's boils. See? There's sores and things coming, disease. See? It's going to break out. Actually, that one there, brothers and sisters. And then the hail. Okay, these are also the four winds. Right, this is the one that caused the resurrection. And false Israel still under siege here. This all happened fairly quickly, right? So now, okay, let me put it this way. Okay, this one through here. At this point in time, the government is after black people, after demons. The government is. See, to put them in concentration camps and try to and get them to help fight this war, because this war is going very bad in Europe. It's going very bad. They need people to help. See, and so they're gonna promise the blacks, those demons, everything. Oh man, we're gonna give you 6 days. We're gonna give you all this. We're gonna give you all this stuff. They want to fight, and they put them in concentration camps. See, but all blacks, they didn't get their hands on, because they didn't make any distinction, and that includes what the African blacks that's here, came over on visa, whatever. See, but they're not having it. They fighting back. They put in a concentration camp or anything. See, they're more united than we are. They're suffering for energy deprivation to the extent we are. That's what's happening. So it says, America is like an insurrection. Civil disobedience, if you want to call that, is all-time high. Because these people reckon they fighting. I mean, well, how you going to put it? Gun battles and everything else. See, because they ain't going to any concentration camps. See, which gives the blacks, Steve Abraham, they give them a breather. So let's move on here. Because remember, the hail also 4 winds. So what it says about this? Okay. So that's the hail. And then the locusts. I talked about the locusts. And this locust plague was being plagued the last 5 months. Right? So this is the demons. They're fighting back now real hard. See? Because they've been thrown in concentration camps and so forth. Being forced to, needing to help fight this war in Russia. A lot of them are resisting. And so the locust plague, right? They'll actually be fighting one another. See? Like, I'm gonna keep it general and brief and short, brothers and sisters. And maybe another time I talk, but I'm gonna give you enough to work with because this is on the doorstep. That's locust. Remember, this is demons. See? They're really angry. They resisted and they've been round up. False Israel under siege. They've been round up to help with this war in Russia and promise everything. Just help us. See? Because Europeans are desperate. Americans are desperate. And then this is the one, see, there's a sealed version of the firstborn and there's an unsealed version. Now, COVID, that's the sealed version. The unsealed version is firstborn, represents Britain. See, Britain came by the earth. So they call it, because remember, I told you about the earth, the riffraff and everything, because Britain is not from Europe. Britain is an English country off the coast of Europe. It's not, you're part of Europe. See, it's an island country. See? And they got a lot of blacks there. A lot. See? I think they got a greater percentage than do have in America. Okay, so it says that God's gonna kill the firstborn. See, remember there's a sealed version and an unsealed version. The unsealed version is talking about Britain because they're the firstborn. America's secondborn. See? And so what it's saying is that, okay, we haven't got there yet, right? Because the first wind hits America. Okay? Here's the second one. That's the one that breaks the government, breaks civil control, police control, whatever, of Britain. Just breaks it. They cannot control the population anymore. So it's all but gone. See? It's not a government anymore. It's just destroyed by these people, right? See? By the Africans that live there. And to some extent joined by the Negro butts. And Americans will get here too. But it's going to break Britain. That's why America going into shock. It's going to go into shock. Britain, how can, because that's their sister language, or sister people. That's what's happening there. See? So it says when that happened, that would cause them to drive us out altogether. That's what triggers the fleeing. See? So they drive, because they drive you out, that means you're under duress. They push you, they threaten you or something. They drive you out. It says drive you out. When you drive someone out, that's doing it under pressure, and threats or whatever. So drive you out. So here, false Israel, right? No, it's true Israel, right? Because of that, let's go further here. Okay, as the four winds, remember, the resurrection will take place as four winds blow. So here we go now. There it is. The four winds blowing. Why? Because the African blacks, they're fighting, and they gave a little breather room. Okay. Some of our people didn't flee. Some people didn't. Right? But according to this, right, when the four winds blow, the rest will. A lot of them was killed in the process. See? But once the four winds blow, they're standing up. I hope it's not confusing anyone here. See? Well, see, when the four winds blow, see, false Israel is still not taken out. It's still not taken out yet. See? Still not taken out yet. Let's say you have to flee before that happens. See, all this is happening very quickly. Because remember, we just saw a few seconds ago where Jerusalem was surrounded by armies. So it's still surrounded by armies. This happened very quickly, brothers and sisters. So I can't show you that, actually, because it's very complicated to try to do something like that. I'm not sure you can even do it. So we still, even though we've moved several scenes down, we're still talking about the same time frame. See? So the winds blow. They come together, right? Because they're supposed to flee before false Israel was taken out. That's happened. Four winds. Now, fourth. Now, see, that's one of the keys here, that the fourth plague is actually the last plague. That's the plague of flies. That's false Israel. See? So now they're taken out. Finally. Okay? And America's primarily the one that suffer. Because they flies, it tells you, it says, let my people go as they may. And I will send a swarm of flies upon thee, upon thy servants, and upon thy people, into the houses and mountains. They send them to the frogs. They're all over the place. Can't get rid of them. They're all over the place. See? Flies. See? And they're more dangerous than demons because they have most of their place a place of power. See? Top Senate seats, top political seats, whatever. And I will sever the land of Goshen, which my people dwell, that no swarm of flies shall be there. That's telling you where we see where Britain is. That's where what with NOI. That's where it was. See, not gonna be affected by the flies. The only one that can be affected by the flies is down there, false Israel. That's what it is. You have to change the. Otherwise, if you go to the sealed version, it looks like the people don't flee, destroy it. But the unsealed version, you have to put a thing in perspective. And the fourth plague is the last of the plagues, not the fourth one. And every eye will see him. That's the story. I say to them, oh, yeah. This is what clown says. Well, the reason they're gonna see Jesus is because how he says is because he's gonna speed around the planet or something. He's gonna circle around the planet real fast. Some of BS, no, because the original nation, including the demons, they all have eyes. It says they have their eyes before and behind. They have eyes. So when the resurrection comes, Suleiman returns, right? He lifts up, and they can all see him, because they're in that situation now. They've been lifted up, see? But now we have to cast out the demons. That's harvest time. Okay. Then the return home. See? Hold on, I'm going to open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, my people, and I will bring you into the land of Israel. See? Some of us, brothers and sisters. This is resurrection. He said, Son of man, these bones are the entire house of Israel whole. They say our bones are dried, my hope has perished, and we are completely cut off. When the Lord, this is what the Lord God says, we cut off my own people. We're not free. When they free you, right? When you free you in prison, it means they let you out of prison and you go home. But you're still in the prison. You have no home to go to. You understand, brothers and sisters? We ain't free, still in the plantation. But now, the harvest come. We got the demons and the originals together. The demons had to be cut out. Daniel, read that in Jonah. Read that in Daniel. There you go. We're about to turn home. There. Because if she has not come here, she's turn home at 144,000 at the top. Suleiman, the God, all those whose names in the Lamb's Book of Life. They're out here. You know why? They're still in the water. See, above the water is the ark. Remember, if you read Noah, it says that God put a rainbow over there. Oh, well, that's the rainbow. That's the angel. Angel breaks all that stuff down. So it's a rainbow above the waters. So Noah has to go through a tribulation because they failed to build a bridge between Master Elijah Muhammad and the Commission of the Covenant, Suleiman. So therefore, Farrakhan was able to ease in there and line rip people off. Turn home. And now false Israel is gone. Right? And we're at home. See? And then the flood. The flood is not a flood of war, it's a flood of humanity. 200 million man army. That's why they wanted to throw us in there, because they knew that war was coming, and they wanted all black folks to help, or at least go and die for them. See? That's what they use it for. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. At no time I may go into the more depth. I just want to get basic understanding. Because this is our doorstep. Those you study angel, you should be understand to some extent. And again, brothers and sisters, we have excellent teachers that can start teaching angel, that mental mind, prepare you for the hereafter. Just contact us. They'll be more than willing to help you. Hold on, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters. For audio brothers and sisters, this is the Black Alert segment. The fire zone. Black Alert out. Okay, for you video brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Hope it wasn't too vague. As I've been doing, I just want to give you basic, just to give you a feel and a roadmap, right? It's not going to a lot of detail because I can't go a lot of detail right now, but to show you just on the doorstep, and those who've been studying AL-INJIL should be able to follow it, right? And you can always ask questions. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.